Welcome to another installment of the Booze Briefing. This is where I get to answer your dumbass questions about my books, Joe's The Cold War Diaries, Volume 1 and 2, with Volume 3 in the works and on the way. And before we get started, give us a like, share, follow, do all the things you're supposed to do there, because remember, every book we sell helps raise money and awareness for American Gold Star mothers, a cause that is a super great cause. Look them up online. I believe it's AmericanGoldStarMothers.org or GoldStarMothers.org. I always forget, but at any rate, I have a bookmark, so I don't have to remember the URL. But look them up, American Gold Star Mothers. Today, we're going to be trying something that I've never tried, as we all typically do. This is Traverse City Whiskey Company. This is their straight bourbon whiskey. This is a single barrel, so it's barrel proof, 6 years old. Let's see, 58.1% alcohol, so you can do the math on that. A little higher proof, around 115, 116, something like that, yeah. And yeah, now this, by the way, I want to do a quick shout out. Let me go ahead and pour this, by the way. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me pour this here, let this season on the ice a little bit. So we have a lot of great liquor stores, Class 6 stores, as we Joes like to refer to them as, here in the area. And but I get most of my stuff from a little place up here. If you're in the Johns Creek, Duluth area, Max's Bottle Shop. In fact, you can see here on the bottle, this is private labeled for Max's Bottle Shop, as a matter of fact, from Traverse City Whiskey Company. Yeah, Ritesh, Charlie, those guys down at Max's Bottle Shop, super great selection, very knowledgeable crew. And interestingly enough, I met Charlie. Charlie's an interesting fellow. He is of Scottish descent. And big, tall son of a bitch. The guy's like 8 feet tall. Big, broad-shouldered guy. He was in 3rd ID. There it is. Yeah, there it is. He was in 3rd Infantry Division as well. And he was in the 3rd ID band. And I think he was in for 4 or 5 years. Great guy. His dad, who's around my age, makes me feel really old. His dad was in 1st Armored Division back during the Cold War, stationed in Germany. And I got to talking to Charlie down there when he first started there, and shared with him a little bit, hey, he saw my hat. He said, Rock of the Marne. Well, we started talking. And I recommended it. Maybe, his dad was in the same time, back in the Cold War. And I recommended the books to him. And I talked to him today during my shopping run. And he said his dad was enjoying the books, so that's very cool. I'm glad we got another Joe's follower, another Joe's fan out there that's reading the books and kind of going down memory lane. But if you're in the Johns Creek, Duluth, Georgia area, check them out, Max's Bottle Shop. Not getting paid to plug them. They're just really cool guys. And so, want to share the love a little bit, right? So let's see what questions we got today. I got a bunch of them still I haven't gotten to. Which story do you think would make the best short film or animated piece? I don't know, that's a strange question. I wouldn't want to animate any of them. I think that, that's a stupid fucking question. So we're not answering that one. But I will say this though, I have begun experimenting with exploring a screenplay of Joe's. Not one particular story, as this question was kind of phrased. Yeah, if you think Biloxi Blues meets MASH, meets a little Stripes maybe thrown in for good measure. I don't know, maybe. I could see it happen. I'll have more on that or not later. We'll see how that goes. What part of writing these stories was the most satisfying personally? Ooh. It wasn't sitting down and actually, well, I was going to say the actual, process of writing is not necessarily satisfying personally. I guess, the biggest thing for me is the feedback, man. When somebody writes me, and says, I knew a guy just like that, took me down memory lane. I wasn't stationed in Schweinfurt. I was stationed in Bamberg or, Kinsingen or something. And but I knew guys like that. Those kinds of things, they hit home for me, right? Because it makes me feel like I'm keeping their stories alive, at least in their heads, when they read mine. and the stuff that happened in Schweinfurt. So that's probably the most satisfying. I will say this, though. Sometimes it's, people get writer's block, right, when they're writing at times. What I get is laughing block. It's like I'll be writing a story, and as I'm sort of recounting the event in my mind for that particular story, and I'm typing the dialogue describing what was going on in that particular instance, I'll start laughing because I know it was funny in real life, and now I'm sort of painting a picture of it for you. But my wife will walk by, and I'm in there typing, and she'll just hear me in there giggling and laughing. And she'll say, "What are you laughing at? Are you looking at memes again or something?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just remembering this story I'm writing, how funny it was." So those are kind of satisfying personally. I guess there's a little bit of a bonus round here. I'm just kind of answering a few more questions. Let's try this out. Traverse City Whiskey Company, straight bourbon whiskey here. It's very good. It's what I say, it's a little higher proof. Yeah, it's got a little bit more of a bite on it than my normal Bib and Tucker, or as I like to call it, Fib and Fucker. But yeah, this little higher proof, 115, 116 proof, but it is warm. It's got a warm body to it. So there's a bite. A lot of times with these, you get these barrel proof whiskeys, bourbons, whatever, and when they get that higher proof, it starts to become a lot more bite and a lot less flavor. This one is really interesting because it's kind of a nice balance. Nice balance of the body and the flavor of the bourbon with the bite. It's I don't know if I'd go too much higher than this proof, though. 116 proof. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm at your house and we're partying and you break out something that's 130 proof, we're drinking it, okay? Whatever. I mean, that's just... But I'm just saying, sitting around sipping it, 116, that's a pretty 120 maybe. I would go there. But yeah, Traverse City, good stuff. Let's see what else we got. Some more questions here. Let's see. What's one thing you wish modern soldiers could experience from that era? And that era, I always just say Cold War, but I'd say probably from the I'd probably say the late 70s all the way up until the late 80s, early 90s. The lack of cell phones, to be honest with you, the lack of cell phones. Anybody that served in the Cold War era will tell you we are thankful that we didn't have cell phones running around with us, because we would have all ended up in Leavenworth, the military prison. We would have all ended up in Mannheim in Germany, the military prison. Because, not that we were doing anything necessarily nefarious, we weren't, mass murdering, killing, robbing, but it was just, we didn't have to worry about little brother. The book 1984 by George Orwell talks a lot about Big Brother and, big government, Big Brother. But we have to worry about little brother today. You see it all the time, like something happens in the news, and immediately there's 20 people sitting there, filming, right? And that's little brother, right? Little brother is everywhere. You do something silly, little brother is going to capture it. Go to YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and search for fail videos, right? You're going to find millions of them, right? So, or prank videos, all those kinds of things. Little brother's everywhere. I would say that that's the biggest thing, because that lack of those cameras being around all the time gave us freedom. Freedom to be ourselves, explore, the countryside, explore the little towns, explore the bars. Get crazy, let our hair down. Not that we had hair. I mean, we're in the Army, but yeah, lack of that sort of oversight. That lack of, you didn't have to be aware of it. You know what I mean? Like today, you have to be aware that somebody's probably filming you at all times, whether it's traffic light camera, flock camera. Somebody just filming, Ring doorbells, cameras are everywhere. And we did not have that back then. In fact, it was a big deal if somebody had cameras back then on the outside of a building or something like that. I would say that because if you don't have those cameras, you're going to have more pure experiences, number one, because you're not worried about necessarily getting in trouble all the time, But the other thing is you're living in a moment, right? You're living in a moment, thinking about there's so many stories. Thinking about like Monk and the Mercedes from Volume 1. And he is, jumping up and down on the hood of that car, trying to get the hood ornament off. And yeah, it was vandalism. It was. We were kids. That's what it was. But in that moment, we weren't really worried about, oh my God, somebody's going to film this. We were laughing at him because he was totally trashed, and we were right behind him. And he's jumping up and down, acting like a monkey on the top of this car, trying to get this stupid hood ornament off so he could be, like one of these 80s hip hop, rappers or whatever it was. And that story now, when I look back at it, if that couldn't happen today, that story could not happen today. I don't think it would have gone that far. I don't think most of those stories in those books would have gone as far as they did today. So I think that's the thing that I wish modern soldiers could experience, is a world without little brother. So yeah, that's been the booze briefing today. Yeah, Rampage, we Pierce. See you next time.
Dismissed.